What's up guys, it's Cam coming at you from the 2-6. Welcome back to Carolina Fragrance Reviews. So those of you who have been with me from the beginning, you know I have like passions for certain brands, and then I'll go into a tangent where I'm after a certain line or brand or whatever. And some of you will know of one of the brands I've been kind of vibing on here lately, especially. Of course, you knew in the beginning it was more like Parfum de Marly, and then Killian's been a deep affection. You know, a lot of you guys know which brands I really dig. But I have been on a, riding a wave of Nishane here lately, and I see that a lot of people have bought them off of my recommendations, and also, just bought them on their own elsewhere, seeing a little hype on Instagram, or if they've been, reviewed on YouTube or whatever. So what I have done is put together 10 Nishane fragrances that either I have or my brother has. We do, rotate back and forth and let each other smell each other's fragrances, so we don't have to buy like duplicates of everything, which I think is smart, being that we basically live just a couple miles down the road from each other. So I know that there's a lot more. I have not smelled all of them, but this is going to be top 10 based off of what we actually own. So just keep that in mind. So without no further ado, let's get into this. Before we get into it, I would like to give a shout out to today's sponsor. It is www.fragranceusa.com. For those of you who have been purchasing fragrances in the Facebook groups, a lot of you will know Byrd. Byrd actually has started a website called Fragrance USA, and he has been kind enough to give a great deal on Nishane Ani and Hachiva. If you do go to Fragrance USA, enter CFR USA on Nishane Hachiva or Ani, you can get $15 off. So that's a great deal, and that comes from today's sponsor. So coming in at number 10 is a very beastly fragrance, and as you guys know, if you've smelled any of Nishane's fragrances, none of them are slackers. Some are just kind of over the top, and that is definitely the statement for this one. This one is called Ketigos. Ketigos is actually part of the Shadow Play line. For those of you who are familiar with what Shadow Play actually is, it is like a cut out cardboard puppets that they have, little things for kids, and some of them even for adults, because they kind of get crazy. They kill each other and even give each other black eyes. So the black eye actually is the meaning of Ketigos. That means black eye. So if you overspray this fragrance, it will give you a black eye. It is extremely beastly. It's sweet, it's green, it's woody, and it is very unique. Now this fragrance is totally passable for spring and summer or year round. It does have a lot of fresh aspects to it. Now one of the notes that I especially like that you're going to get in the opening is grapes. So mixed with those grapes is going to be a really sweet and juicy pineapple. And I was actually reading up on this. They said that they used the same pineapple note in this as they did in Hachiva, but obviously they used it in a different way. So you're going to get a sweet and juiciness from that pineapple, and you're also going to get a tartness from the pineapple and the grapes. Now this also has a very green vibe, but it's almost like a herbaceous green is the best way to describe it. I think they even listed a note as kind of like a burnt grass, but I don't think that that's the best, because I don't really like smell burning grass in here. Yes, I have burned grass before. I do not smell it in here. But there is some other things going on in here that gives it kind of like a metallic vibe, and you're definitely going to get that right off the top. Yeah, you definitely get that slightly metallic tinge. So you're going to get the fruits with the grape and the pineapple, and then the greenness from the grass and that herbaceous metallic vibe. And you also have a really nice note of amber in here, and that metallic vibe, or kind of, a modern twist, if you will definitely continue to stick with you on the dry down. So as you well know, some of these other fragrances like Creed has, like Himalaya has that metallic vibe, as well as Silver Mountain Water. It's kind of similar along those lines. Obviously a totally different fragrance, a very unique fragrance, and insanely beastly. So do not overspray this if you get a chance chance to try it. Coming in at number 9 is a fragrance that I was a little bit on the ropes with at the beginning. It wasn't that I disliked it. I found that it leaned just a little bit feminine, but in the end, it worked really well. So what I'm talking about is 100 Silent Ways. Now, those of you who follow me on Instagram, you saw that I was using this as a layering fragrance. It is a fruity floral fragrance that is just really nice. It's got some great fruit notes in it that I absolutely adore. So you're going to get some juicy, sweet peaches and mandarin orange in the opening of this, and you're also going to immediately smell tuberose, which is a note that I absolutely adore when it's done right. The tuberose in this is actually perfect, just mwah, perfect, perfect, perfect. You're also going to get a soft musk and a powdery iris. And it also has a really good note of gardenia mixed with a slightly creamy sandalwood and I'd say more of like a clean vetiver. You don't get like a real super earthy vetiver with this, but it is one of those more clean vetivers that is almost undetectable, but it is in there. This fragrance is actually really good for layering. I layered this with Parfum de Marly Godolphin. I have layered it with numerous fragrances. It's got really good performance to be a fresh, fruity, floral fragrance, but to layer with some of these other ones that I'm getting ready to show you is really, really good. So for my liking, I do like it by itself, but it is really best for layering. So I don't know if you want to spend that type of money for more of a layering fragrance. It just does depend on what type of fragrance that you like. Coming in at number 8 is a patchouli fragrance. For a lot of people, patchouli, they automatically think like hippie patchouli, that real, funky patchouli. Sometimes patchouli can be done absolutely perfect, and there are a lot of them out there, and this is one of them. This one's called patchouli coza. This one almost has a slight gourmand vibe. It's because the patchouli in here is sweet. I won't go as far as saying it's actually a gourmand because it actually has a little bit of a greenness to this one as well, which really is a different twist. So you've got some grass and flowers in here. It is herbaceous. And the greenness in here is slightly bitter. There's a little bit of spice with black pepper. You also have some ylang ylang. You have some leather in here. And in the mids, this one really starts sweetening up. It almost gets a little bit resinous, but it's like a sweet resinous that comes from that patchouli, which is actually a honeyed patchouli. So imagine like an already slightly earthy green patchouli that's a little bit sweet, but just honeyed. So yeah, this really, really, really good. In the mids to the dry down is where this one really shines. The opening is not bad at all. You're just not sure where it's going to go, but it evolves into a magnificent patchouli fragrance. And of course, like I said, it does get a bit resinous, and then you're going to get a slight smokiness from that incense, which is really, really to die for. I was impressed with this one. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but the more I wear it, the more I love it. This is going to be actually like perfect for fall and winter, but again, wear it anytime you want because there is just a little bit of a, like that greenness in here could, light application, you could get away with it in the warmer months. Coming in at number 7 is a fragrance that just blew me away in more ways than one. When I heard the name of it, I automatically went to Middle Eastern smell. I am talking about Sultan vetiver. Now, for the vetiver lover in you, if you can't get your fix with this, you never will. There are 3 different types of vetiver in this fragrance. So as some of you know, vetiver can come off clean, it can come off earthy, it can come off slightly sweet, it can come off really bitter. There's a lot of different ways that vetiver can come off depending on where it's sourced, if it's vetiver oil, if it's Haitian vetiver. This has just a little bit of all that in there. Now, don't let the name fool you. I don't really get like what I would call like a Middle Eastern vibe, or what most would call a Middle Eastern vibe, especially people here, on the western side of the hemisphere. Now this is earthy, it's rich, green, even a little bit salty. And it also has some pink pepper, some neroli, bergamot, tonka bean, leather, and amber. I did not like this fragrance at all the first time I put it on. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I was like, that's just too much. It's really thick. And I made the mistake of overspraying it. Now, what I would say about this fragrance, especially now that I've worn it some more and smelled this on my brother, because I actually bought this myself and me and my brother swapped, but that's, you know, I can get it back, he can get his back. That's the upside of it. Normally when you swap, it's gone unless you want to buy it again. But what was crazy is I oversprayed it. It was almost nauseating because it's really strong. But then I said, let me give this another shot. Let me go easier on it. So by not overspraying it and going easy, lighter application, especially, you know, we're here in 100+ degrees here in North Carolina, which to overspray a thick fragrance like this might not be the smartest idea because you're not going to get like the full impact of what this fragrance should smell like. But once I did a lighter application, I just absolutely fell in love with it. And then smelling it off my brother, it smelled nothing like it smelled on me. I was catching wafts, and it's in the air. This fragrance is absolutely to die for. Now, obviously, by what I said about it being thick, you don't want to overspray this. This can be worn year round, but definitely go lighter on that application in the warmer months. I would say that this fragrance would be absolutely perfect for fall. Now we're getting into the most difficult part, was 6 through 1. This fragrance just blew my socks off, first impressions, and so did the rest of them. And you guys know how I feel about some of the ones I'm going to bring up, but this is one I have not talked about. It is B612. Now, from what I can see, anytime this fragrance goes on sale, you know, on any of the sites, it's usually one of the first to go. Other than like Umbra Calibria, Ani, Hachiva, it's going to be one of the quickest to go. And there's a couple that never stay in stock. If you find one, you pull the trigger on it. Those of you who love Nishane, you know exactly which ones I'm talking about. Now, B612 is a rich, masculine, and aromatic fragrance. It is just going to smell absolutely amazing in the air. The scent bubble that's created with this is undeniable. Once you've smelled it and you smell it in the air on somebody else, you know exactly what it is. It has a very distinct aroma, just like, you know, like if you smelled Creed Aventus on somebody or something like that. It's just like, is that Aventus? But yeah, it could be one of 60 clones, but you know that DNA. This is the type of DNA it has that is just undeniable. Now you've got some florals in here, and you've got some deep and rich woods like cypress and cedar. It also has some geranium in here. But for me, on the opening of this fragrance is one of the best notes, which is a really sweet and absolutely amazing lavender. Now, some of you may know that lavender was used a lot in like those old school fragrances, but the sweet lavender is the note that a lot of the more modern fragrances that are used, even like some of the gourmand fragrances, use that sweet lavender. This is done unbelievably good. This also has some oak moss, patchouli, and a really deep and dark amber. This one could slightly, maybe a little bit, be teetering tottering towards a gourmand type fragrance, but this is a very unique fragrance. If you've not tried this, I would highly recommend sampling B612. Coming in at number 5 is another, what I would call like a semi-gourmand. It is Fan Your Flames. Fan Your Flames was one that Mark Mobley actually was talking to me about, I guess, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years ago. I'm not even sure what year this fragrance was launched, but it was the first one that I had heard about. And it wasn't long after that that I started hearing, you know, little hints about this brand, you know, here and there. And Fan Your Flames was one that I heard about frequently. So when I finally got my nose on this, it was like, boom, this is an amazing fragrance. Now, it's known for being smoky and dense, but don't let that put you off. That is exactly what you're gonna get on the opening, is kind of like a smoky and denseness about it. So with that dense smokiness, you're gonna get some dried fruit, you're gonna get some tobacco, and molasses. Wow, molasses are so good to eat. I love to smell them. That's something that we eat here in the South with just like a fresh homemade biscuit, dip molasses in. But think sweet tobacco and molasses. That, yeah, unbelievably good. It also has a really sweet booziness that comes from rum that's mixed with coumarin and coconut. And you definitely pick up those hints of coconut that just really throw this into another direction. And then on the base, you're gonna pick up a little bit of that oak moss and cedar wood. But the smokiness is gonna last throughout, but it will subside. It'll be a slightly sweet and resinous tobacco boozy fragrance with coconut and smokiness. This fragrance actually reminds me of like a more ramped up version of B612. They are different for sure, but B612 smells like it might have been like an original modification that got darkened of this and they tweaked some stuff, or vice versa. They lightened it up and changed some things around. Two completely separate fragrances, but seems like they are in the same wheelhouse. This has amazing sillage, amazing performance. You definitely get your money's worth. You definitely need to try Fan Your Flames. So if those weren't difficult enough to figure out where to put where, these last ones are, it was horrific for me to have to decide. I mean, I was deciding by like tiny little hairs. Coming in at number 4 is a fragrance that I have been wearing a lot this summer. No, it's not the one you're thinking about. It is Woolong Chop. Now, as you can see, yeah, I have put a significant dent in that, and that is just trying to go easy on it. This is a very easy to wear fragrance. It's light, it's chillax, it's everything that I love to wear this time of year. It is basically just like a tea and fig fragrance. It's just done absolutely well. It opens up with some really high quality citrus notes of bergamot and orange. You also get some lychee in here, mixed with some oolong tea, some fig, and a really clean musk. So this fragrance is just like really fresh and kind of milky. You get that milkiness mixed with that fig and tea and those really nice citruses. Got to be one of the most easiest fragrances to wear in the world. Not so much like, oh my God, you smell fantastic type fragrances. I'm not saying it's not a compliment garnering type fragrance. This is one that you're gonna wear for more just like personal enjoyment, just an easy going fragrance. Coming in at number 3 is one of the most popular from the line. Yes, I am talking about Hachiva. Hachiva has been boasted as the Aventus killer. Some people, feel that way. I feel that this goes in another direction. It does have like an Aventus type of DNA to it because it has pineapple and patchouli and some of those notes that you're accustomed to with. It does have some of those Aventus notes like oak moss, pineapple, patchouli, but it does go in a different direction. It's very high quality. The pineapple is extremely juicy in this, and it's just so good. The performance on it is absolutely stellar. The scent bubble is to die for. Now what they did is took almost an identical note breakdown of Aventus, plus or minus some things, just to give it like its own strut. Some of those notes that are identical to Aventus are bergamot, pineapple, oak moss, jasmine, patchouli. But as I said, it does go in a different direction. And that different direction may be from different types of pineapple, because I don't know for sure, but you also have some grapefruit that gives it just a slightly tartness, and then you get a sharpness from cedarwood. Like I said, smell them side by side, you'll see the differences. If you like Aventus, you'll love Hachiva. Coming in at number 2 was very difficult because I was going back and forth, but it's because of my love for number 1. This fragrance here is actually one that has been getting a lot of hype lately, and it is Ani. Ani has been boasted as one of the best vanilla fragrances ever made. So those of you out there who are vanilla fans, you have to get your nose on Ani. It's fresh, it's rich, it's warm, it's spicy, juicy citruses. You got a little bit of a greenness going on. You've got that spicy richness from the vanilla. And that vanilla is almost like a resinous, just like you can't get enough of it, which seems to like cling to your skin. This has amazing performance, amazing sillage. You will actually fill the room with this, even not spraying heavy. It's just got a very strong presence. Some of the notes in this are bergamot, green notes, blue ginger, pink pepper, blackcurrant, cardamom, vanilla, musk, sandalwood, and benzoin. And as I said, it has magnificent performance sillage and will cling to your skin all day long. So that leaves, last but not least, as number one, the one that I just went ham over and I'm still going ham over. It is Umbra Calibria. As I said before, this fragrance is like a summer must-have. It has notes in here that don't exist in here. As I mentioned, it has almost like a sweet lemony vibe. It almost has like a sweet caramel vibe, which it don't have any lemon. It does not have any caramel, but how this fragrance was put together just makes it extremely unique. It's fresh, it's sexy, it's long lasting, it smells amazing in the air, completely attention grabbing. In the summer, one of my favorite pies to eat is like a key lime pie. I almost get like a key lime pie vibe from this. Even with that said, the key lime, the caramel type thing and the vanilla lemon type thing still allows this to be an amazing fragrance to wear in the high heat, 100 degrees, whatever, you know, spring and especially summer is where this one is going to shine. Some of the notes in Umbra Calibria are bergamot, green leaves, galbanum, jasmine, coriander, a really sweet amber, vanilla, and musk. That musk is amazing on the dry down and the vanilla plays perfectly with this. I was talking about this fragrance to a friend of mine. He's like, man, why are they putting vanilla in a fragrance like that? I was like, you'll see, you'll see. I sent him out a little sample of it and he was like, I had to go buy a bottle. I was like, I told you, bruh, I told you. Now, as I said before, I know there are more Nishane fragrances that I need to try, but as of what I have tried, I've got these placed in, you know, how I feel they should be, as in a top 10 list. There are many more that I want to try. I know that some of you know about them. If there's anything that you know that I need to try or can give me some information about them, I would greatly appreciate it. So as I said, don't forget, you get $15 off of Hachiva and Ani at Fragrance U.S.A. Don't forget about that. Take advantage of that discount code, which is CFR USA. Down in the comments, let me know what your favorite Nishane fragrance is. Which one did I miss that should be in this top 10 list? Until next time, I'll see you on Carolina Fragrance Reviews.